Hi, third and fourth graders. Today's book is on Mexico. This is the third day, so make sure you are on the correct day. You need to have done Australia and then Kenya and now today Mexico. We are going to take a look at how this book is set up, read a few sections, and then you will be responsible for a small assignment at the end. Okay, so obviously this country is Mexico. They show on the front the flag and then one of the Aztec buildings that would be found if you went to Mexico. In the table of contents, you'll notice that this one is made a little differently than Kenya. You'll notice that it's more of a heading type situation than a question situation like the other book. But in the back, there is a glossary. Remember, a glossary is where you would find keywords and definitions of what they are. And then this book also adds an index. And an index, it's on the screen, an index is going to tell you where a keyword might be. So if I was to use this book to look up something, then I could look in the index to see if that keyword is there, and I would know exactly which page to look at. Okay. Now I'm going to read a couple of sections from the book. First, starting on page 4, where is Mexico? You can see on the map where they pointed out. Most of you should already know that Mexico is directly below the United States. You can see a larger part of that map there, zoomed in a bit so that you can see specifically the outline of Mexico itself and the oceans around either side. And I'm going to read that. First of all, up here, did you know? Mexico used to include a large part of the western United States. Mexico lost the land to the United States at the end of the Mexican-American War in 1848. We briefly discussed in social studies at one point that up here where the United States would be, like where existing California and everything is, that was Mexican territory for quite a while. Okay. Mexico, the southernmost country in North America, spans 758,449 square miles of the continent. The United States lies across Mexico's northern border. The Rio Grande, one of the longest rivers in North America, flows for 1,250 miles along this boundary. To the southeast, Mexico borders Belize and Guatemala. Well, Mara, I think you've been to Belize before, so that's pretty cool. The Pacific Ocean washes Mexico's western shore. On the east coast, the Yucatan Peninsula separates the waters of the Gulf of Mexico from the Caribbean Sea. Mexico City is the country's capital. The land. Look at that. Looks pretty dry. Most of Mexico's cities lie on a large plateau in the middle of Mexico. In some places, this flat land rises more than 1 mile high. Rocky mountain ranges with snowy peaks surround the plateau. Mountainsides covered in forests slope down to meet rolled hills and plains. Beyond the plains, sandy beaches and wetlands line the coasts. In the northwest, the Baja California Peninsula goes for long periods of time without rain. Deep canyons and rocky deserts cover much of northern Mexico. Tropical rainforests lie in the far south where the weather is hotter. Fun fact. Several of the world's most active volcanoes stand among Mexico's mountains. One of the largest is Popocatépetl, I butchered that, or Smoky Mountain. Popo, as Mexicans call it, puffs out with smoke and ash. You can see that down there by the fact. All right, our next section, wildlife. Nice picture of some of the animals there that you might recognize. We got an iguana, a quetzal, a dahlia flower, and a jaguar. Fun fact, the round, colorful dahlia is Mexico's national flower. Dahlias originally grew wild in the country's mountains. Today, they brighten gardens around the world. Mexico's many landscapes create habitats for a wide variety of plant and animal life. In mountain forests full of pines, firs, and oaks, bears and mountain lions stalk their prey. Jaguars hunt in the rainforest. There, colorful birds like quetzals and parakeets fly from treetop to treetop. Coyotes roam among cactuses in the northern deserts. The deserts are also home to Gila monsters, iguanas, rattlesnakes, and other reptiles. Deer and rabbits nibble on the grasses and shrubs of the Central Plateau. Every December, thousands of gray whales migrate to the coast of northwestern Mexico to give birth. The people. Yeah, a little bit of Spanish translation there. A lot of you might know hola or como está. Fun fact, the Mayans are the largest group of native peoples in North America. They have lived in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula for thousands of years. Most of Mexico's 112 million people are mestizos, or people of mixed race. They have European ancestors who first arrived from Spain in the 1500s. So remember when we talked in social studies about like Christopher Columbus and other explorers at that time. Their ancestors are also native peoples who were already in Mexico when the Spanish arrived. Native peoples make up the second largest group in Mexico. Many wear traditional clothes and speak their own languages. Mexico is also home to immigrants from countries in Europe, Asia, and North and South America. Almost all Mexicans speak Spanish, which is the country's official language. Okay, we're going to skip ahead a little bit. We're going to look a little bit at food and holidays. So food. Now, some of the Mexican restaurants you might go to here, El Azteca, Solea, things like that, Zacatecas in Nina, they might be a little bit different than this. Sometimes they get a little bit more Americanized, so to speak, but it would be kind of similar to the idea of what they're going to be talking about here. Did you know? Many Mexicans eat their main meal in the middle of the day. Some people also take time for a quick nap or siesta before going back to work in the afternoon. Long ago, the ancestors of modern Mexicans learned how to grow corn or maize. I mentioned maize earlier. Corn is still a main ingredient in many Mexican dishes. People have been making pozole, a traditional corn stew, for over 1,000 years. Tamales are made with ground corn and pork or chicken. They are steamed inside corn husks and served hot. Cooks also made ground corn into tortillas. They wrap these round, flat, pieces of bread around a mix of meat and cheese to make snacks like tacos and enchiladas. Cooks spice up many dishes with chili peppers and use avocados, bananas, and papayas to add flavor. Mole poblano is Mexico's national dish. It is turkey or chicken chopped with a spicy sauce called mole made with chilies, chocolate, and nuts. You can get moles at Mexican restaurants around here, along with enchiladas, pointed out over there. Okay. The end of this book, too, has a fun facts page that gives you a little bit more additional information on Mexico. Obviously, if this was something someone was researching right now, in this particular situation we're in, we couldn't use a book necessarily like Mexico, but there are lots of wonderful online resources that would be able to give us information about this as a country. Now, today, your assignment is going to be to think about, first of all, what have you learned from this, and what do you think you might want to find out from another country. And I want you to then maybe look at the sample country I give you in your assignment and see what kind of basic information you are maybe able to find out about it. All right, I will talk to you guys later. See ya.